Hey there, Michelle. How's everything going?
Hey, good, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm feeling fantastic today. What are we getting into in this episode today?
Ooh, we're gonna get angry. No, not really.
Oh,
Lindsay,
no.
do you get angry a lot or what do you
um,
think?
I get frustrated. I notice that the as when my meditation practice is stronger, I get frustrated less easily
Okay.
in seasons where that is the case. But if my meditation practice is not as strong, I can get frustrated. Maybe not angry, but frustrated more quickly.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't deny it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. You kind of distinguished between being angry and frustrated. So
Yes.
there's a difference between the two, right?
There is. There really is a difference, and I bet our listeners would love to know this, Michelle, today, because this is what gets us to that 99% fluency level, right? When we know these little
Right.
differences.
Exactly, exactly. And guys, we happen to have a listener question about this today. It's a really good question. Before we get into it, we want to remind you to hit follow wherever you are listening to the All Ears English podcast so that you don't miss anything. Guys, make it easy on yourselves. Let the episodes
Yes.
come to you so you don't have to go searching for them. They'll come right to you.
Exactly, Michelle. Guys, hit that follow button now wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whether it's Amazon Music or anything else, just hit follow now. So, Michelle, should I go ahead and read the question? This question actually came from YouTube, which is another great place to consume
Yes,
all ears English. Yeah.
that's right. Yes, please read. This question is from Sammy.
Okay, Sammy says, "Hi Lindsay, I have a question about what is the difference between anger and frustration? I think frustration goes with goals. I mean, like you can't achieve what you want to achieve, and anger goes with people, like when somebody is trying to annoy you. Is that right?" Okay, love the question. Very authentic.
Yes, and also I love that Sammy has, put forth, Sammy, his or her own thoughts, about what it could be, and I mean, well, what do you think? I mean, do you think that that sounds right? We're gonna get deeper into it, but yeah, what do you
Let's
think?
see. So Sammy said frustration goes in something you can't achieve. I think that is probably part of the answer. That those definitions sound like they could be part of the difference.
Yeah.
Not everything, but part of it is my guess. Before I
Yeah.
see our plans. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's a pretty good idea there. So,
Yeah.
this is a very good specific question. We'll dive deeper into it. Guys, if you want to hear more about anger, listen to All Ears English
Oh.
episode 755, which was 3 steps to deal with angry native speakers in English. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. So that's a good one. Go check that out. Let's get into this one today. Let's go straight to our answer so Sammy and the rest of our listeners know the difference. So, do we have a dictionary definition to start off of
We
anger, Michelle?
do. We do. So the dictionary says anger is a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility.
Okay.
So, okay,
Yeah.
interesting, interesting. Lindsay, what is the dictionary definition of frustration?
Okay. Well, according to the dictionary, frustration is the feeling of being upset or annoyed, especially because of the inability to change or achieve something. So that points to what Sammy said,
Yes, yes,
right?
exactly. So I mean, these definitions though, they sound almost the same, but I think like what
Yeah.
you were saying and what Sammy was saying was I think the key difference is where it says because of inability to change or achieve something. So that goes along with what Sammy said about the goals. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, Lindsay, do you think if
Uh,
you're frustrating if you're frustrated, you're always angry?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
actually, not necessarily, right? There's a lot of ways in which we could be frustrated.
Yeah.
Again, I do like that definition. It comes back to can't quite get something, right? Something that,
Yes.
that could be more of a chronic frustration about something over a long period of time. And it
Mm.
doesn't necessarily evoke anger. Because when I think of anger, I think of, "Arr," right? I'm clenching my
Right.
jaw and
Right.
I am, my muscles are tensing. Maybe I'm screaming out, or maybe I'm being like being physical in some way, right? Hopefully not, but maybe some people are. So that's different, right? They are pretty different.
Yeah, right. They are. They are. I mean, I feel like you can also be frustrated in another emotion. So maybe you could be frustrated and sad. You could be frustrated and anxious, but it's not that the two are mutually exclusive.
Yes, yes.
I think they are almost the same, but anger to me also sounds a little bit more general and
Mhm.
frustrated sounds a little more specific, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would also say, Michelle, that's a good point. I think for our listeners, guys, at your level, if you're reaching for that 99% fluency, go for the more specific words, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a way to connect because when you're speaking with a native speaker, they understand more fully what you're going through if you use a more specific word.
Yeah,
Don't you think so,
exactly.
Michelle?
Yeah, I think it's good for the connection because you're really pinpointing
Yes.
exactly the exact emotions. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but not it's not the same, but it makes me think of like with children, they
Yes.
say they want you, you
Mm.
want to get your child to actually name the emotion that they're feeling.
Oh, that's
And to learn
true.
that, right? To learn that instead of just like, oh, they're screaming, say, oh, you feel this, you feel that. So like I've spent time doing that with my
Oh,
son. I'm not equating my son to to our students, but it's this idea of just like being able to like having that visceral need to be able to say how you feel. And so we
interesting.
want to give you those tools, right? It's important.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So, what are some example? I think our listeners will become very clear when they have some examples here. Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. So we're going to do some examples. We're going to talk about them, and we can also kind of switch between them to see how it would change the meaning, if at all.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
all right. So the first one is I was frustrated when I lost my phone for the second time. Okay.
Okay.
So frustrated. So how does this kind of go along with the definition?
Yeah, I mean, I think anger might be a little too strong here, right? Because it
Mhm.
also is sort of there are degrees of magnitude here too, right? I
True.
think anger is probably a little even though it's different, it's not the same. It's not apples to apples.
Yeah.
I think anger is probably still a stronger emotion than
Right.
frustration in many ways. So,
Right.
yeah, anger isn't quite right here, right? I was frustrated because maybe it happened before or maybe I had to get somewhere and I was going to be late, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, it just fits better
Yeah,
here, I
I
think.
think
Yeah.
so too. I mean, you could say I was angry, like, I think you would say I was
Yeah,
angry
you could.
if maybe you're, like, angry at someone, like, I was angry
Someone
when I
hid the
lost my
phone.
phone because, it was because my sister didn't remind me blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
or you can be
yes.
angry at yourself, of course. So, I think frustrated fits a little bit better here, but, you could be. Well, Lindsay, what's the
Hmm.
next one?
Okay, here's the next one for our listeners. Write this one down, guys. She was frustrated when she couldn't hit the high note, but she worked hard over several weeks and now she can do it with no problems. Okay, what do we think here? Does angry work? Could we interchange angry in here?
I mean, you could, but again,
Mm,
frustrated goes along with that idea of that goal, which
the
Sammy was talking
goal.
about, which the definition was talking about, that having trouble achieving something.
Yes.
So that's why I think that that one's a better fit. Do you agree, Lindsay?
Yeah. If I were to insert angry here, I would kind of think of it as a little bit more of a childish response, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more because frustrated implies a bit more
Hmm.
sophistication because it
Yeah.
implies that you're working on something, that you're like reaching after something. Whereas anger is, as you were saying, like kids just become angry
Yeah.
sometimes and
Yeah.
they don't really know why they're angry, right? I think anger is a less controlled emotion. It's a like a more brain it's like a closer to the brainstem, more primitive emotion, I think. I'm not a
Interesting.
psychologist, I don't know, but I'm guessing in evolutionary psychology, they would say anger is probably a more primitive emotion. It's less
Interesting.
sophisticated. Like
That's
embarrassment is a
cool.
very sophisticated
Yeah.
emotion, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anger
Yeah.
is brings us back to the caveman
Right.
days. We're just
Right.
angry.
I'm angry. Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's a good point, Lindsay. So I mean, if you say like, yeah, if it just wouldn't work as well to say she was angry, she couldn't hit the high note. Like,
Yeah, it
if
just
you
didn't.
if you say you're angry at yourself, that basically means
Okay.
you're frustrated, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
that in the way kind of changes it. But yeah. Another one
Yeah.
is about my situation with stubbing my toe constantly. I was frustrated when I stubbed my toe for the second time in a week.
So, I think this one you could totally say
Yeah.
angry because this one is more like you're a victim of something you can't really control. Although, are you implying that you're just making the same mistakes again and again? Or
Yes. I mean, and I literally did it again yesterday. I mean, I've been waiting for
Michelle.
this toe to heal for, like, 2 months, and I keep on stubbing it. It's unbelievable. Anyway,
You have to change the furniture in your house or something, I
no,
don't know.
yes, you're right, because I noticed yesterday that it was again on the bed, and, like, there's something messing me up over there. So
Okay,
anyway.
well, you work on that, but then yeah. I mean, what do you think is what is better here? I mean, I guess it could be either
I
depending
think in
on
this situation, it could be either, like, because when you stub your toe, like, you do have that anger, that primitive response, Lindsay, like you said, like, it's not necessarily so sophisticated, but
not sophisticated, yeah.
you can still have this frustration with yourself, like, "Oh, I was trying to achieve the goal of healing my toe, but I keep on stubbing it," right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
that way, like, it's not like a goal, like you were trying to sing a song that you were trying, but it's still,
Right.
like aiming to get better, and it's not
Just
happening,
trying to not get hurt around the house, Michelle. Just trying to not have
you
any
know?
physical problems around the house. Oh my gosh. I guess this is actually a really interesting episode.
Yeah.
More interesting than I thought because it's very nuanced, right? This
Yes.
difference. I almost feel like frustration also spans. Well, of course it does, because again, it's about trying to get something that we can't quite get most of the time, and that spans over a longer period of time. Whereas anger can just be instant,
Right.
right? And then it's kind
Right.
of gone, maybe, right?
Right. It's true. It's true. That's right. Well, let's
Mhm.
do this one. So this is so I was angry when my boss didn't think I was the one who did the project. So what do you think?
Oh, yeah, not good. So anger makes total sense and, totally justified, right? That's a well, okay, I just said it. I almost just said that's a frustrating
See,
thing.
it's a little bit
That's
confusing.
interesting. Well, I will say both work here
I
because
think so
I
too.
understand why anger would happen. It's an
Yeah.
immediate emotion. It hits you right away. Whereas frustrating kind of festers a little more.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
would you say it festers?
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. I think anger can fester too, but
Yeah, it's
that's a good
true.
bonus word for today. I'm gonna
Tricky,
fester.
tricky, tricky, tricky.
Um, but yeah, I personally think either one is good here. And then let's just do one more. Don't be angry if I can't make it, okay? I told you I might have to work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what do you think about that one?
Don't be angry. Yeah, more of an instant emotion in that moment. Don't be angry, right? I like
Mhm.
angry here.
Yeah,
Don't be frustrated if I can't make it. I guess, but again, it
sounds a
points to
little
maybe
bit
last time you didn't make it, maybe next time you won't make it. It points to
right.
more of an like a
Like a
episode,
pattern
a
maybe,
longer
like
pattern kind of.
could
Yeah.
be, could be. So interesting, but I think that the main thing is that frustration seems more like the word annoyed or irritated. I think
Mhm.
anger seems more like mad, right? Like you can be frustrated and not mad. You can be frustrated in another emotion, but anger is more like you're mad, "Arr," right? And you can have
Yeah.
both emotions tied together. Or it can make sense that one word better describes the emotion than the other. And then, of
Yeah.
course, what we talked about with the goals and sophistication. So
Mm.
lots of things here.
Super interesting here.
Yeah,
Wow. Oh my God. Fascinating. And guys, again, work towards understanding this. This would be a really good thing to really understand the nuances and when they work, but a lot of times they are interchangeable. Right.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. So, Michelle, what else is up today?
So Lindsay, I heard you're going to Portugal in the fall, actually. So can you say something in Portuguese?
Oh, this is even more embarrassing than speaking Arabic on the podcast. Okay. I know that museum is un museu, un teatro is theater, o jogo está terminando. Clearly, Michelle, I need some more work. I've just gotten
I
started here. This
Oh,
is
you sound good to me. I think that's so cool. But Lindsay, so you're using Rosetta Stone to prepare for this trip, right?
I am, and so far I am liking the method. It's pretty immersive, actually.
Oh, I love that. That's so great.
Yeah, guys, it's working for me, Rosetta Stone, when it comes to preparing for my trip so far, little by little,
Mhm.
right? But also, if you want to become more competitive at work with your English, maybe you work for a multinational company, for example, like a lot of our listeners do. Right?
Right, right. Yeah, like maybe you guys take business trips to London all the time. Then you'll want to check out Rosetta Stone and get the lifetime membership, which we're going to tell you more about in a minute.
Yeah, so one thing that I have seen in Rosetta Stone so far that I love, Michelle, is that there are
Mhm.
no translations in the
Oh,
program. So
uh-huh.
that's really kind of revolutionary, right? You're getting trained to
Yeah.
listen, speak, read, write, and really think in English. Because on this podcast, we've talked about the listening shock that we go through when we walk into a room, let's say at
Yeah.
work, and everyone is speaking in English. And we want to help you guys avoid that. This is one way to get away from the listening shock is by being immersed in English through the app.
Oh, absolutely. That's so huge. And guys, Rosetta Stone is actually the most trusted app out there. It's been used for 30 years. That's a lot of years by millions of language learners. And guys, why do you think it's been around so long? Because it really works.
Because it works, absolutely,
Mhm.
and it's easy to use, right? So you can use
Yeah.
it on a desktop, or I was using it on my laptop when I was
Yeah.
working on my Portuguese, and it's also an app. Lessons can also be downloaded. You can use them offline, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can use it while you commute. I know a lot of our listeners listen to this show while they commute. You can make a little more space for Rosetta Stone. You can work on it while you walk your dog, even right after you listen to today's episode, Michelle.
That's right. You can do that. And you can also customize your lesson theme, right, Lindsay?
Yeah, so, like, in my curriculum, I'm doing beginner Portuguese, obviously,
Yeah.
so I have options for work, school, shopping, greetings, introductions. Of course, travel is what I need to focus on.
Yeah. So that's really great. So, but guys, don't put off learning that language because there's no better time than right now to get started. So, guys, for a very limited time, this is so great. All Ears English listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership, lifetime for
Yes.
40% off. So, that is 179 for unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. So, you can redeem this 40% off at rosettastone.com/AEE today and use the coupon code AEE.
Yeah, guys, the way to spell that is ROSETTASTONE.com/AEE. That is the page where you can get that deal. And we want to say a special thank you to Rosetta Stone for sponsoring All
Yes.
Ears English. All
Thank you.
right.
Yes.
Good stuff. Okay, Michelle. So let's get into our role play for today's episode, coming back to frustrated and angry. Shall we
Yes.
do it? Okay.
All right. So, in this role play, you are trying to get your computer to work.
Oh my gosh, that is the most frustrating thing that I can
Yeah.
imagine. Here we go. Oh, this won't turn on. I'm so frustrated.
Now, don't get angry, Lindsay. I'll help you.
I'm not angry. I'm just tired of dealing with technology that doesn't work.
I hear you. I get frustrated with tech too sometimes.
It can be frustrating when people tell you that you're angry and you always go back, I'm not angry, but you actually
Right.
are.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You're acting angry, but,
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But I'm not angry, right?
not angry, not
Not
angry.
angry. Okay, here we go. So what did I say first, right? So I said, "Oh, this won't turn on. I'm so frustrated." Mhm.
Right, and that goes with I mean, even though it's a little goal of trying to get your computer to turn on, it's a goal. You're trying to achieve something and you can't,
True.
so you're frustrated, right?
True, true, true. Yeah, fair
So it
point.
doesn't always have to be like a big goal. It can just be the goal of, trying to get
Right.
in a parking space, anything. Uh, you
Are
could
you
say
here's a
oh,
side question, just real quick.
yes.
Are you good at parallel parking? You must be because you live in the city, right? Are you
That's
N
funny. So it's actually right when we started our Instagram, I did a post about parallel parking. I still remember.
Really?
I think yeah, way back a few years ago, I guess. And no, I am not.
Oh, no.
I like never do the parking. I don't really drive that much. It's
Okay.
usually
Oh, yeah, in the
because
city.
I don't usually drive that much. But if I have to parallel park, which is never, I will freak out. I still
Yeah.
remember learning to parallel park with like the traffic cones with my dad, and like I still
Oh,
remember learning.
yeah.
What about you?
I can usually pull it off, but sometimes I can like I have to try a few times, but most of the time I'm okay. But with a big car, we drive a big 4Runner, it can be really challenging because I don't know
Yeah,
exactly the dimensions of the car that well? So
yeah.
anyways, side point, parallel
Do you
parking
have
is a
one of
big
those?
thing.
Yeah. Do you have one of those cameras where you can see
No, no,
in the
no,
car?
no.
No.
Our
Oh.
car is from like 2006 now.
Okay.
We don't have a
Okay. Yeah. Well, the parking space that we do have is the smallest parking space in the world, so it's a
Oh,
good
I
thing
love
I don't
that.
usually have
I
that. Yeah,
love
it's pretty funny.
it.
Okay. So yeah, I said now don't get angry, Lindsay. I'll help you. So
Right.
I'm saying you're angry, right? And we talked about that you don't have to be angry and frustrated. Like they don't necessarily match, but
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
acting kind of angry and
But
you're
now
having
I'm
this.
angry. But now I'm angry because of that comment, right? And I say,
Yeah.
"I'm not
Now I upset you.
angry," right? I'm
Yeah.
not angry, I'm just tired of dealing with technology that doesn't work. right?
Yes. And then I said, "I hear you. I get frustrated with tech too sometimes."
Yeah,
So,
and I feel like in that case, you're kind of bringing it all down, like, you're keeping it more controlled by saying frustrated. I don't know,
yeah.
anger is just like an out of control emotion, right?
Right.
Like,
Right,
horrible
it's
things have
true.
happened because of anger in the world, right?
Mhm.
And, so by saying, "I get frustrated too," I'm kind of sort of toning everything down in a way. Does that make sense?
Right, and also showing that, like, everybody feels this emotion, that this is, like, human to get frustrated with
Yes.
text, so, like, making you
Yes.
feel like, "Okay, yeah, I know how you feel," basically.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a connection skill, but we can reword things a little bit and present it to the person and say, "I've experienced this too." So
Yeah.
good. What's a takeaway today, Michelle?
Alright, well, guys, these words are very similar. This is a great question by Sammy. They are not always tied to one another, but we talked about some of the main differences today, like with goals and primitive emotions. But guys, we hope that you're not angry or frustrated today. We hope that you have a great day. Anything else, Lindsay?
No, I think that's it, guys. Don't forget to go get that special deal just for you guys at rosettastone.com/AEE. And your coupon code is AEE.
All
Fantastic.
right.
All right, Michelle. Thanks for hanging out on the mic with me today.
Thanks, Lindsay. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.